This is year 2, lesson 3.4, analyzing a personal dilemma. Again, your learning goal for this unit is that students will learn how to apply different lenses to analyze real world dilemma situations. They'll be able to determine the central conflicts and come up with the best possible solutions for the dilemma. Specifically, this lesson will allow students to describe and dissect a personal real-life dilemma using the lens of values. Assessment as an educator is that you will review the My Dilemma worksheets for the appropriate contributions of personal dilemmas that are related to values. You can monitor the class discussion for connections between personal dilemmas and values, and you can also analyze exit tickets for articulated connections between values and decision making. The CASEL alignment for this lesson is self-awareness and responsible decision making. For their portfolios, students should be sure to hold on to the My Dilemma handout as well as the Year 2 Lesson 3.4 exit ticket. For resources, there's an optional resource you might want to take a look at before teaching this lesson on mind mapping. You can get to that through the link here. Prerequisites, you could use Year 1 Lesson 2.2 on values. And also we had another lesson about values this year in Unit 1. That's Year 2, Lesson 1.3 on values and engagement. For our optional refresher, you can remind students that in the last class, we discussed areas of alignment and misalignment and how that can affect decision making within an organization and within a field. You can ask students to briefly define the terms alignment and misalignment using their own words just to make sure that they still remember what that is and they can relate that to what you're going to be doing today. And then today you'll be applying the lens of values and how values can influence how we make good work decisions. So to start this class, you're going to ask students to work independently for 10 minutes of the class, considering their own personal dilemma using the, the My Dilemma handout here. And if students don't want to write, as always, take an opportunity to get creative and do something else. If they would like to record a video, an audio, draw something, make a painting, an artifact, a sculpture, a cartoon, whatever works for them, they should feel free to do that. And students should choose a dilemma that's related to the work that they do as a student. So it could be in a job they have, it could be in an activity or a hobby that they do, be it athletics or arts or anything else that they're excited about. It could be helpful to frame the definition of a dilemma and that something that an individual has to make an active choice. There must be different courses of action, like different possibilities that they might go in. And that no matter what action is taken, some element of good work, whether it be ethics, excellence, or engagement, is compromised. So there's no perfect solution. That's what makes these situations so challenging. And they should also know that these dilemmas, they should be comfortable sharing with the class as a whole, so they shouldn't choose anything to describe that they wouldn't feel comfortable talking about in the class. So after 10 minutes, you're going to bring the class together to discuss the dilemma stories. So you can use the following routine to discuss themes about student stories, like using the story as a guide. What factors led you to make a certain decision when felt with a difficult situation? You can write the answers on the board. We're not stopping to judge. This is a brainstorming. It's an open conversation. Allow everybody to ask questions, to give their own ideas and thoughts. And then you can ask the students to draw connections between the different items that came up with the things that you were writing on the board. You can make groupings, you could do headings, you could draw lines in between them with different colors, whatever works best for you. And you can discuss what certain items are help with decision-making habits. And you continue this until the discussion is complete. These are some examples of factors that could be discussed: expectations of others, responsibilities, rules and guidelines that you might follow, friendships and relationships, loyalty to individual or groups that kind of goes along with that, or a greater calling to do social good. At the end, you can have a class discussion to kind of reflect together about the activity. And ask students, what do you notice about making decisions? Was there anything surprising to you about the factors involved in making decisions that maybe other people employ? And how do you think you'll apply what you did today to your life when you make future decisions? So is this going to possibly change how you might approach a situation similar to the dilemma that you described at the beginning of the class? And then finally, please ask students to complete the closing and exit ticket for this lesson. So in this lesson 3.4 exit ticket, they'll talk about which value that they currently hold that they think maybe most influences their decision making. So students have gone through and done the value sort a couple of times at this point. They should probably have a general sense of which values are their like top 4 values, and maybe thinking about which one of those makes the most influence on their decision making. And then how does that value influence their choices regarding school and being a student? What about possible future career choices? If you have extra time or your students would like to do an enrichment project, on a blank piece of paper, you can have students create the mind map, and that's where we had the optional resource at the start of the lesson plan on mind mapping. And they can take multiple forms. They can use the dilemma from the My Dilemma worksheet, and they can create a web of different bubbles describing the dilemma and their influences. They can create a drawing that depicts the dilemma and the influences, a comic strip, a chart. They can be creative with exactly how they want to approach this and show a map of the decision-making process for themselves. And both the Lesson 3.4 exit ticket and any enrichment can be added to the Good Work portfolio.